go. Uh, Time for a re. Okay. All right, I remember. Okay. So we got to the section where we once again we're going from the perspective of Shion's Lucky, and got to the point where Satoshi killed his aunt. Pretty obvious he did it. So the police were investigating him, and he didn't have an alibi, of course. But and the police knew this. But so as he's about to get taken away or whatever, Shion steps up or whatever and says, "Hey, no, I was with them." But of course, no, wait, we saw you at the festival with folks or whatever. Then she reveals she is the twin. So, which of course she was hiding that fact or whatever. She didn't want her like killing it or whatever. She got taken by the family or whatever, and they were the head of the family, the grandmother, very angry. Apparently involved with the fact that they, of course, knew that Satoshi did it, so the getting wrapped up with the murder or whatever is, yeah. So she got punished via, removal of 3 fingernails. Conscious, well, removal, nice way. Ripping off, yeah, I know. No. Having to move my hands because I thought about it. Anyway, of course, now Satoshi has disappeared. So it is possible, based on reports or whatever, that he actually did. Sonazaki's got him like to flee or whatever. It's possible. And that he actually isn't dead. Anyway. But after having that closed up, that's sweet. Last time. What did you just say? This is information from a reliable source. It appears that they found the murderer of Satoshi-kun's aunt. It had been a few weeks since the murder. Satoshi-kun still hadn't been found. I had no new information on his whereabouts. Kasai's report came in as a result, completely out of the blue. Does that mean the police arrested the culprit? It seems that he confessed during his interrogation regarding another case. It sounded strange. If it was Satoshi-kun they arrested, he wouldn't have worded it that way. It sounded as though Satoshi-kun wasn't the culprit. Kasai, who's the culprit? But wasn't Satoshi-kun? I swallowed those final words, convinced that it was Satoshi-kun. The police in Oishi must have thought the same way. The reason Oishi approached me is he was convinced that Satoshi-kun did it. Don't worry. Doesn't seem like it's Satoshi-kun. I heard it was a lunatic who was aiming to continue the series of mysterious deaths. What? Lunatic? What do you mean? Sai shrugged. I don't know. Since the investigation is classified as a confidential case, the information I can get is limited. Confidential? Why? To prevent the village from developing a bad reputation. You don't see articles about kidnapping while the police are negotiating with the culprit, do you? It's something similar to that. Come to think of it, I ain't seen anything about the aunt's murder on TV or in the newspaper. These strange deaths have happened 4 years in a row now on the day of Watanagashi. There are those who try to make light of it. And now this lunatic who confessed the aunt's murder said he did it. An imitation of the series of mysterious deaths. Sad didn't know anything else, so instead of probing him further, I reviewed the information myself. I was really shocked to learn all this. I was convinced that Satoshi-kun killed her. I thought that was the reason he had to disappear. It was actually some lunatic who killed her, and he had no relation to the aunt whatsoever. So Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with the murder. If so, why did he disappear? I couldn't accept that this lunatic had killed the aunt. What's really strange is the phrase Kasai used. 4 years in a row now. After all, I'd been thinking that this murder happened because Satoshi-kun had been in a dire situation and had nothing to do with the series of mysterious deaths. I felt as though Satoshi's case had become somebody else's. Series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is also known as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. Satoshi-kun's death had become one of those mysterious deaths. In other words, Satoshi-kun's case has become a part of Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't like the way that sounded, because it was though the curse had swallowed Satoshi-kun. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to confirm the tip that Satoshi took a train to Tokyo. Don't even know whether or not he's in this prefecture, to be honest. Oishi broke the seal on a new can of instant coffee. Thought you knew... Oh, wait. I thought you knew his whereabouts already, since you seemed very convinced he was the culprit. You got me. Oishi chuckled and poured a cup of coffee which looked far too hot. You have some good sources, huh? It's a highly classified case, but you already have this information. Wonder who leaked it. It's like we need to review our security precautions. Oishi smirked. Seemed he knew why I was here today. I'm one of the Sonozakis after all. My ears are open. I smirked back at him. It's all about bluffing. Anyway, since we're friends now, why don't we have a chat? Let me ask you first. Who's this real culprit? I heard he was a lunatic, but what does that mean? I don't know how to answer that question. Want to know the answer myself. Really, I was convinced Satoshi-kun was the real culprit. It was rather surprising for me, too. Oishi threw himself on the sofa and crossed his hands behind his neck, or behind his head. He looked up at the ceiling and smiled wryly. I suddenly received a call from the prefectural police the other day. They said that one of the guys in detention confessed to the murder of the housewife. Who is it? He's a crazy dopehead. He's been in and out of prison for drug abuse. Statement says that he was interested in the series of mysterious deaths and wanted to imitate them. Are you sure he's the real culprit? I didn't interrogate him myself, but the prefectural police tells me that he has information that only the real culprit would know. He seems to have thrown the murder weapon into the Aochi River. They're searching for it right now. If it's found, his statement will be solid. Even if the weapon wasn't found, would the case be closed? Probably. The statement clearly outlined the state of the crime scene and the body. This information, like I said, covers details that only the actual murderer would know. You don't seem quite convinced. Oishi, still looking up at the ceiling, went quiet. As a matter of fact, Dopehead was already dead by the time I got their call. Dead? You know those spoons that are forked at the tip? You mean sporks? I used those at the detention facility. I was told he swallowed one and choked on it. I couldn't tell if it was a suicide or if it was caused by some mental disorder. I imagine somebody's swallowing that spoon and gagged. So the investigation hasn't been done that thoroughly. Wait, so the investigation hasn't been done that thoroughly. But although I'm not convinced, my superiors are. I think with that, the case will be closed. Oishi turned his eyes from the ceiling to me. He looked serious. This is just what I personally feel, okay? So please, keep it between the two of us. I believe that this lunatic is some kind of mistake. Might be either a big misunderstanding caused by a chain of coincidences or, Alright, here's my theory. Okay, I'm gonna say it before they say it. Alright. So, Sonozaki family did sort of like have some sort of like big discussion or whatever. I guess I'm leaning toward they actually had him leave town or whatever. I don't know, I guess like 60% or something like that, leaning toward that, whereas 40%'s thinking maybe they killed him. But in either case, he must have like spilled of course he must have spilled the beans on like the exact thing or whatever exactly he did, so they would have the information to be able to convey, like, okay, guy that's in jail or whatever, here's what you need to confess and what you need to say and the details you need to give. So they as verification. That's my theory. I have no idea what you're talking about. I still believe that the real culprit is Satoshi Haojo. You sound confident. Unfortunately, we couldn't find anything to prove he was at the crime scene. We obtained a warrant to search his house after he disappeared. We still found nothing. But you still believe he did it? Yes. I wonder how you can be so sure even though you don't have any evidence. It's incredible. That's supposed to be like the hunch of an experienced detective? Yep. The hunch of a guy who's been in this business for several decades. When she smiled in satisfaction, I didn't feel relieved. Where did Satoshi go? His disappearance convinced me that he was the culprit. If he wasn't the culprit, there'd be no real reason for him to disappear. But if the murder actually was done by that lunatic, Satoshi's disappearance has nothing to do with it. In other words, what if Satoshi disappeared because the Sonozaki family didn't like my relationship with him? He has nothing to do with the murder. Was Satoshi a culprit or a victim? The reason for his disappearance had become unclear. I don't think they bothered to make one person disappear just because of an undesirable relationship. What do you hear from inside the Sonozaki family? Do you know anything? I wouldn't be here if I did. You're right. Oishi laughed out loud while scratching his head. After he stopped laughing, he leaned over. All right, how about this? Why don't we make a deal? Gentleman's deal. A deal? On what? On information about Satoshi's disappearance. If you find any information like that, you tell me, and I'll also provide you with information if I find any. Do we have a deal? That sounds too convenient for you. Oishi chuckled. Shion-san, I think if we leave things as they are, they'll conclude that the lunatic committed the murder. That happens, Satoshi-kun's disappearance will be treated as just another runaway minor. They won't search for him as actively as before. But I will continue searching for him. Only I will do it. I believe you're intending to do the same. Our motives are different, though. I just want to know if he's safe. You'd like to arrest him, wouldn't you? Murder case was considered solved. Satoshi would be free, regardless of his innocence. I doubt that. Oishi chuckled again, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Well, let's be friends from now on. The enemy of your enemy is your friend, no? I'm not opposed to the Sonozaki family, though. Oh, really? I apologize, then. This is the way of Kurado Oishi, huh? As Sis Kasai said, I wouldn't want him as my enemy or my ally, because both would be too risky. I probably shouldn't let my guard down in front of this big fat weasel. I sipped on the coffee to fill up the silence, though I wasn't thirsty. Outside the window, I could see normal life taking its course, but Satoshi-kun wasn't there. He should have been there, but he wasn't. I was scared that I might grow used to his absence someday. Where was he? Wonder how Satoshi is doing. I hope he's all right. I know you think he might be dead, Don't patronize me. You know what people are calling this disappearance in Hinamizawa, huh? They say that he was demoned away. Be demoned away means the same thing as being spirited away. It's part of the local dialect. He was kidnapped and taken to hell through the bottom of the Onagafuchi swamp. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the series of mysterious deaths has struck for the 4th time. It's too soon, but people are already talking about next year. Saying that the murder was the result of Oyashiro's curse? Victim was one of the Haojos, after all. She was involved in a damn conflict, though indirectly. Really, it's not surprising that some people take an interest in the incidents, because they do always happen on the day of Watanagashi. That's ridiculous too. Oyashiro's curse? Though I said that, I couldn't quite wipe away the fear from my mind. Why did Satoshi-kun disappear? Did the Sonozaki family? Did he run away from the police? Did he really kill his aunt in the first place? Why did he even disappear? On his own. Oyashiro's curse has nothing to do with it. But strange. Satoshi and Oyashiro's curse. Somebody once mentioned those two together before. And did I hear that? The phone call from Satoshi. That's right. That rainy day. It was Reina Ryugu. Oh. Okay, well, that too. Reina Ryugu who told me that when we were taking shelter in that shack. Remember the creeper story that she told me at that time? Satoshi wants to leave Hinamizawa and run far away, even if only unconsciously. That's what Reina Ryugu said. Reina had definitely pointed out that Satoshi wanted to leave Hinamizawa at that time. She also said, everything he's going through is a sign of Oyashiro's curse. She said that, for sure. She had definitely mentioned Oyashiro's curse. The series of mysterious deaths has struck 4 times. Was Satoshi being controlled by the curse? That's why I killed his aunt and was demoned away. Wait, can't be true. Satoshi's smile faded away in my mind. Satoshi disappeared. Not only that, the reason for his disappearance also disappeared. Must have been done by a human being. I can't accept that he was demoned away. Notebook, page 43. Are we gonna get a 1 year later? I moved from one chair to another because the air condition was too cold. I moved with my notebook, my pen case with a bunch of keychains, and my cup of milk tea. I did it all in one go. Sat down in a new chair, then opened my notebook again. I scribbled my thoughts and sank into silence. A series of mysterious deaths, dubbed the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I've been viewing each incident as a separate case, and though it was followed by another one, I've never looked at all the cases as part of one big scheme. After I wrote down all the incidents on paper, it seemed clear to me that all of them served the same agenda. I wrote down the victims. First year, the construction site manager. Second year, Satoshi's parents. Third, the priest. Fourth, Satoshi's aunt. For the 4th year, one could consider Satoshi himself to be the victim, rather than his aunt. I considered that each case arose from the grudge over the dam conflict. Quite simple. The first year, the construction manager was killed because he was a symbol of the dam construction itself. Of course, the real enemy was the Ministry of Construction, but it wasn't as clear a target. That manager, on the other hand, had been aggressively shouting back at the villagers. He was a more appropriate enemy to attack. Oishiro-sama had really cursed someone who could have been the officials from the ministry. It's apparent that the target was selected based on the villagers' preference. The second year, the accidental death of Satoshi's parents. It's said that they fell from a cliff in some park, but it's doubtful that it was really an accident. His parents were labeled as traitors to the village because they sided with the dam construction, even though they were also from Hinamizawa. The Haojo family was ostracized during the dam conflict in order to prevent further pro-dam activists from rising up. That means that the Haojos were necessary during the conflict to play the role of the traitor. Though when the conflict was over, they no longer served any purpose. Construction site manager was the symbol of the external enemy. The Haojos were a symbol of the internal enemy. Those people fell victim to the curse, and it seemed that the grudge over the dam conflict had ended. Yet those incidents were followed by another one. The third year, the leader of one of the three families, the priest Furude, suddenly died of an illness with an unknown cause. His wife drowned herself on the same night. She seemed to have left a note that said she was sacrificing herself to pacify Oyashiro's anger. There was a fatal disease or suicide. Their deaths looked suspicious. Leon admitted that the Sonozaki family didn't like the priest's attitude. He didn't like how the priest had been generous toward the pro-dam activists. The priest wasn't quite a traitor. He was certainly uncooperative. Looking at these incidents, I realized that the curse was performed based on the degree of hostility. Enemy, traitor, and dissident. This meant that the curse was actually payment. It was a punishment for criminals. Fourth year. I didn't understand this case at first, to be honest. First, I believed this case was separate from the other ones, even though it occurred on the same day. I never thought that there were any in relation to the other three. And I wrote it down and looked at it objectively. Victim is a relative of the traitor. Enemy, traitor, and dissident. Relative of traitor doesn't sound too odd. Comes naturally as a fourth target. On the day the villagers worship Oyashiro, their garden deity, criminals of the dam conflict have been punished by the curse. Like I was forced to pay at the Sonozaki house, the criminals were made to pay as well. Writing these things out, I started thinking that the fourth incident would be in line with the mysterious deaths after all. It was Satoshi or the dopehead. It seemed that they were forced to play the role of a murderer, a part of a bigger scenario. Even if Satoshi was the real culprit, and if he killed his aunt because of an ordinary grudge, the murder seems to be synchronized with the grand scheme of the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, which is a payment plan for the war criminal. That murder was the result of his pain. But if somebody planned that as part of the scenario, for instance, somebody might have suggested him kill his aunt on that day, that night, at that place. No doubt that Satoshi decided to kill her in order to protect Satoko. But did he really reach that conclusion on his own? Satoshi was optimistic, somewhat detached as far as I know. Would he really have considered murdering his aunt even if it was to protect his sister? Can it be possible for somebody to have chosen the aunt as the fourth year's murder beforehand? And they used Satoshi? And Satoshi was eliminated because of his connection with them. Looking at it that way, murder of the first year resembles this case. The main culprit behind that case hasn't been found yet. Dead or alive. The other culprits testified that their fight had turned into a slaughter. It wouldn't be possible that the main culprit had manipulated the situation. But if he had been told to kill someone on that day, at that time, and in that place, certain. First murder resembles Satoshi's case very much. That means Satoshi was being controlled by somebody else. She had presented me with the hypothesis that the Sonozaki family made Satoshi disappear in order to end my relationship with the murderer. When I read the notes on my own, this disappearance didn't seem too spontaneous. It seemed like part of a bigger plan. Suddenly, I'd unexpectedly gotten involved in that plan to be separated from. Then Satoshi was demoned away as planned. First, I also believed that the Sonozaki family made him disappear because they didn't like that I was in love with the family of traitors. Something didn't add up, then felt strange. I wasn't the reason for his disappearance after all. And if I never met him in the first place, Satoshi was supposed to kill his aunt in June 1982 and then disappear. At one point, I had been thinking of taking revenge on the hag. I believed that she separated. But what if my relationship with Satoshi had nothing to do with his disappearance? Would that mean who made Satoshi disappear? I need to understand the series of mysterious deaths in order to solve this mystery. What did all these deaths mean? Who was behind them and what purpose did they serve? I wanted to know the purpose, the motive, and who was responsible. I took Satoshi. I wanted to know if he was still alive. Series of mysterious deaths in Hinekizan, also called Oyashiro's curse. What is that? Specifically, what kind of god is Oyashiro? What blessings does he bring and what punishment will out? Wrote down my thoughts in the notebook. What's Oyashiro-sama? What is he? Scribbled these things down. I was so absorbed by it. I didn't realize somebody had been standing behind me, watching me the whole time. I couldn't stop myself from gasping when I realized that. Oh no, this chick. She's bad news bears. I'm sorry. Did I startle you? The intelligent-looking woman giggled. No, I was just a bit surprised. Sorry about that. She could have apologized a little better, too. She'd been watching me from behind. She started staring at my face and just stared at my face instead. Are you Shion Sonozaki-san? Must know sis since you know my name, but I don't know who you are. Being twins is a pain sometimes. People you've never met before can tell exactly who you are. I'm sorry. The Sonozaki-san and I know would never be seen in a library. I assumed that you were her twin sister. The woman giggled again. Well, you're right, I'm Shion Sonozaki. Nice to meet you. May I ask your name? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have introduced myself first. She seemed to love her own hair because she kept running her fingers through it boastfully. I'm Mio Takano. You can call me Mio, Shion-chan. Nice to meet you, Takano-san. Condescending attitude bugged me. I hate meeting people like that. Closed my notebook and got ready to leave the desk. Oh, are you set? Thank you for your concern. I like to be alone when thinking, so I'm moving to another spot. Excuse me. That's a shame. I thought we'd be good friends. Did you? I don't think so. I finally met someone with the same passion, fellow researcher of Oyashiro's curse. I think it's quite unusual to meet someone like that. saw my notes. My face reddened. These are just theories. It's all nonsense. Just childish scribbles. The series of mysterious deaths is also known as Oyashiro's curse. Though each death is independent incident, all of them clearly share the same purpose. Here, somebody dies of the curse and somebody else is sacrificed and disappears. What? What are you saying all of a sudden? Somebody dies and somebody else... What? I was taken back by her weird spiel. But then I realized right away that she'd said something extraordinary. Notice that the number of victims is always even. Didn't you realize that yet? Number of victims is always even. I was confused, but I tried to figure out what that meant. Damn construction manager died in the first year. There was only one victim. Second year, the victims were the parents of Satoshi, so it was 2 people. The third year, it was the priest, and for her death was also planned his wife, 2 again. Third year, the fourth year, Satoshi's aunt died and Satoshi went missing. Satoshi's disappearance was planned, the number of the victims was 2. It's true that for the first one, the victims always came in an even number, 2. Wait, I concluded myself that the first case resembled the fourth one. The main culprit was still missing. Might have been demoned away just like Satoshi. See? Doesn't it make sense now? Kano sounded like a teacher who had showed me how to solve a difficult math problem. I wasn't quite convinced, but I couldn't deny what she'd said either. Did I give you enough hints? I really would have enjoyed a conversation with you, but I think you prefer being alone. Hehehe. I'm sorry that wasn't respectful, Mio-san. Please call me Shion. Hehehe. She seemed content that I changed my attitude. She kept giggling for a while. She didn't seem that reliable. I didn't want to be acquainted with her for too long. I don't get to talk to people very much. And what she said interests me. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Mio Takano. Call me Mio. Pleased to meet you, Mion-san. Mio-san. I'm Shion Tsunazaki, Mion's twin sister. Please call me Shion. I took the hand that Mio-san held out as a sign of reconciliation. Please tell me more. You said that there are always 2 victims. One dies due to the curse and the other one is a sacrifice? Shion-chan, before we get into that, can you tell me why you became interested in this? He leaned over and looked into my eyes, kind of uncomfortable. Mio-san, how much do you know about me? I guess you have an idea if you know my name. I don't know much. Recently returned from a boarding school. I see. Well, I think you can imagine. I want to know about the series of mysterious deaths that happened while I was away. I'm just curious. I see. Curious, eh? I got the impression that she knew about what happened to Satoshi and me, because she instantly recognized me as Shion, not Mion. I don't know why I thought that way. She shouldn't have the access to sources that, for instance, Oishi does. It was just the look in her eyes that made me think that way. Let me ask you a question this. Me, a fellow researcher of Oyashiro's... me ask you a question this time. You called me a fellow researcher of Oyashiro's curse, didn't you? So why are you researching the curse? You also stated that there's always an even number of victims in the deaths. True that Hinamizawa's mysterious deaths, often called Oyashiro's curse. But why would you delve into the mysterious deaths if you're researching the curse itself? Okay, sir. Thing. That? Nah. Jian-chan, you're asking too many questions at once. I can't tell you what you really want to know. Didn't say anything in return. Maybe I'd been too inquisitive. I'll answer your questions one by one. I'm not just researching the curse, as my subject is much broader than that. I'm researching the history of Onagafuchi village. In plain terms, I'm researching the dark and ancient history of Hinamizawa. Onagafuchi village? And Onagafuchi, the bottomless swamp, some people believe is connected to hell? What dark history? I kept asking questions. Mio took, however, looked pleased to hear them. Onagafuchi village is the old name for Hinamizawa, as it was known back before the Meiji era. About the dark history. A little bit about the man-eating demons, I assume. Man-eating demons, huh? That was a fairy tale told in Hinamizawa. A long time ago, demons came out of the swamp while the villagers battled with them. They ended up living peacefully together. Villagers transcended and become a sacred people, having demon blood in their veins. The long-forgotten fairy tale came back into my mind vividly. You know this story because you're a villager, of course. What about the story of the cannibal banquet? Eh? What's that? You know that the villagers have the blood of man-eating demons in their veins, don't you? Yeah, I think I've heard of it. Dodge the question. Hinamizawa used to be a desolate village, but it grew in prominence after the Second World War, and expanded its influence to Okonomiya and other areas. People who disliked and discriminated against the village called us man-eating demons, I remember that. Young villagers don't take it seriously, but the older people can get seriously upset about it. They certainly can't take it as a joke. The term man-eating demons is forbidden. Normally never use it. During my rebellious phase, I never spoke those words. Mio-san, however, seemed to have no qualms of saying it out loud. Are you upset? About what? I know people hate that phrase in Hinamizawa. Apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable. The old people wouldn't like it, but I'm fine. Would you continue? Thanks. Okay, so, the ancient villagers had a custom of cannibalism. They ritualized this custom and held various ceremonies based around it. The festival we hold in June isn't just an early summer festival. Used to be a banquet in which the villagers chased after a sacrifice, ate them. They bound the sacrifice to a table, gutted them, dumped the organs into a river. Wata can mean cotton. It also means organs. That's the root of the word Watanagashi. Organ drifting. Watanagashi. Indeed. I believe they started using futon mats to cover it all up around the Meiji era, according to my research. They wouldn't be able to do that openly nowadays. Everything Mio-san was talking about sounded startling. I was just taken back. Couldn't only believe it right away. You'd sense that from my expression. Not a hoax. I didn't make any of this up. Promise not to tell anyone. I can show you my notes on Watanagashi. Mio-san took out a notebook from her bag and flipped through it. She appeared to be doing her research thoroughly. Thank you. I'd love to read it. Sure. I'd like to keep it confidential. I guess I should share it with my fellow researcher. Mio handed me the notebook, a bit hesitant. Looked like I'd taken a whole night to finish reading. It was densely packed with information. Saw copies of various documents and quotes in there too. It wasn't just some delusion of hers. You told me that one person dies because of the curse. Another person is sacrificed and disappeared, right? Person is sacrificed and disappears. Satoshi had gone missing. Become a sacrifice? Sacrifice, anyway. Mio looked pleased to hear my questions again. Took out another notebook and handed it. I think you'll understand once you read it, but I'll give you a digest version. Shiro's curse is simply Oishiro's anger. In other words, the curse is caused by Oishiro's anger. Do you follow? Yeah. You're saying that Oishiro was mad at the people who opposed the village during the dam conflict. That's why the curse occurred. That's right. Oishiro's anger has to be pacified. Not something even worse will occur. So, all the successive priests at the Furude Shrine had to perform a sacrifice every time the curse struck, in order to pacify Oishiro. Called the sacrificial ritual. So, each year on the day of Watanagashi, one person dies because of the curse. And another one is sacrificed to pacify Oishiro's anger. Only one person is actually murdered each time. Never heard of human sacrifices before. Naturally, there's no body. Ritual of sacrifice requires the offering be sunk into Onagafuji. That swamp is bottomless, and no one would ever surface once they were thrown in there. Body would ever be found, of course. So one of the victims is always thrown into the swamp every year. That means Satoshi-kun, bottom of that dark green swamp. Don't know. Not sure they really throw them into the swamp. For those who make these incidents happen must be eliminating one person based on that legend. Each year a traitor to the village dies on the day of Watanagashi because of Oishiro's curse. Another person is sacrificed in order to pacify Oishiro's anger. That person's body will never be found because he or she is supposedly thrown into the bottomless swamp. Yes, get it. A series of mysterious deaths. Always involves both the curse and the sacrifice. It's a system that allows two traitors to die every year. What I'm telling you now probably isn't sufficient, but it might be hard to grasp. Instead, I want you to take the time to read mine. You'll see that what I'm telling you isn't far from the truth at all. I heard a man's voice just then. The middle-aged man with a hat was waving at Mio from the entrance. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to talk to you more, but I guess we'll have another chance to chat. I'll leave those notes to you. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions. Mio wrapped up the conversation and headed to where the man was waiting for her. She left her old notebooks in my hand. Mio waved at me as she left the library with her companion. I took a seat again and opened what she'd given me. What bugged me was a series of mysterious deaths, also known as the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Maybe I'd be able to get closer to the truth by reading these notebooks. If I studied them carefully, I might be able to find out who was really behind the incident. Why did Satoshi have to disappear? What was he involved in? How did that happen? Maybe Takano's notes would bring me the answer. Research notes. Mio Takano. Started flipping the pages, this time making sure that no one was watching over my shoulder. Several hours later. It was time for the library to close. I had to leave. I bought some food on my way home. I shut my door and locked it right away. Then I heard the door of the neighboring apartment open. Kasai lived next door. Nobody else lived on this floor of the nearly empty apartment building anyway. Clearly heard the door open and close. Sam must have noticed that I came home, was coming over, because he wanted to talk to me. I unlocked the door and shouted out to him. That you, Kasai? I'll leave the door unlocked for you. Not Kasai-san, she voice twitched. Can I come in? Sure. Yes. Oh. The door slowly opened. My alter ego, Mion Sonozaki, appeared. He was holding a box of cake, while smiling timidly. You want to keep standing there until I escort you? Come in. Sorry, this room doesn't look very cute. It looks comfortable. This looked a bit tense when entering my room. It was her first time here. How's life? My new school is boring as I thought it would be. I usually go, but I skip classes when I don't feel up to it. Couldn't do that when I was going to St. Lucia's. So St. Lucia's was really tough, huh? Should go there sometime. Sorry. I brought cake. Let's eat. Neon opened the box. I saw 2 cheesecakes there. Cheesecake? We have the same taste in food. We don't have to fight if we get 2 of the same thing. I chatted with her over the cheesecake. I talked to her about school and whatnot. If you need furniture, tell me. Might be able to get some. I finally got used to this room, but I might move out soon, so furniture won't be necessary. Thanks, though. Dad wants me to come back home. I don't want to live with him, but he sounds desperate. He'd be pleased if you came home. You looked lonely while you were gone. I can only say that because you don't have to live with him. Come to think of it, it was the first time I talked to Sis since I was allowed to live as Shion Sonozaki. It didn't look like she was at the Sonozaki house that day. Successor of the Sonozaki family and my twin sister are 2 different people. The demon lives inside of the leader of the Sonozakis. Our bodies are exactly the same, except for the tattoo of a demon on our back. Neon's destiny was as the successor was set in stone when she got that tattoo. Pretty simple. Mion from that night was different from the Mion before me. Was forced to tear off my fingernail. I'd momentarily despised her. If I were the next leader of the family, I'd have done the same. Shion, how are your fingernails? The wounds have closed. I don't bandage them anymore because it looks too conspicuous. But my nails still look ugly, so I don't really like showing them to people. I sneered at her, displaying my incomplete fingernail. Mion grew quiet and looked down. You don't have to apologize. You did what you had to do. You just played the role of the successor. Not holding any grudges. Sorry. Okay, apology accepted, but if you apologize one more time, that'll be cancelled. I won't forgive you for the rest of my life. Huh? What do you mean? You start apologizing, you never stop. I'm cutting you off. Really forgive me? About Satoshi as well? My heart ached when she mentioned his name. Felt just like the ache of an old wound. I figured you loved him. No wonder I shouted it out loud in front of all of you. I'm not embarrassed anymore. Granny truly believes you've atoned. He thinks you've done all you needed to do, so the matter is finished. Pain won't go to waste then. Wonder where Toshi disappeared to, though. I started choking when I heard her say that. I just said it to her myself. Said that I'd forgiven her completely. That promise instantly evaporated. Just because of what she said, I felt like I'd turned into a completely different person. Say, Meal, did you say I wonder where Satoshi disappeared to? Who else could know other than you folks? What did you say? Where did it go? Felt my eyeballs reddening and I felt as though they were about to pop. I choked on a burning sensation in my throat. Mion's expression rapidly changed. Looked like she noticed the devil's mask on my face. We were one and the same. We could understand each other's thoughts without voicing them. So showing our expressions was like unveiling everything in our hearts to the end. Oh, sorry. And though I told her not to apologize anymore, Mion apologized. I felt like strangling her. I was gonna make her confess where she had hid Satoshi. She told me she threw her into the Onagafushi swamp. I'd strangle her to death right then and there. I really don't know what happened to Satoshi. That's a lie. It's true. Granny doesn't know anything either. Please believe me. That's a lie. You saying that Oyashiro-sama's curse demoned him away? There can't be a curse. There can't be. Words kept coming out of my mouth like I was chanting a spell. I wasn't speaking by my own will anymore. It was the demon who was controlling me. The demon that'd been sleeping deep inside of me woke up, was speaking through my mouth. My hands, the demon's hands, grabbed Mion by the neck. You guys demon Satoshi away. You and the Sonozaki family. Give him back to me. Give him back. My hand slowly but surely squeezed Mion's neck. Mion put her hands onto mine. I looked at her fingers. 3 of the fingernails on her left hand looked as ugly as mine. Mion? What's this? Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't have to answer. She had the same scars as I did. She atoned as well. The way those wounds were healing looked the same as mine. Did you get these wounds around the same time as I did? It was unfair that only you had to go through that. Felt so bad. Mion started sobbing. I stood there petrified, still wringing Mion's neck. I found out you love Satoshi. I wanted you to be happy, because it was only you who has to suffer, even though we're twins. It didn't come as a surprise to me that Mion might also love Satoshi as I did. We always liked the same stuff and even the same people. He was stupid enough to feel obligated towards someone like me. I told Granny to leave you and Satoshi alone. Shouted at her. And she said she'd let you be if you atoned with sincerity. You did. Supposed to live happily with him. Satoshi has gone away. Terrible. That's... Mion isn't smart enough to shed crocodile. Those tears were real. Her tears dissolved my demon's anger like how the sun melts ice. Believe me, Shion. I really don't know why Satoshi disappeared. Neither Granny nor the Sonozaki family have anything to do with it. Granny forgave you. She would never do anything to him. Mion, so sorry. Did I hurt you? I took my hands off her neck and held her instead. I'm not hurt. Been hurt a lot more than me, haven't you? I shouted at the demon in my mind. I believed in Mion. Been convinced it was the Sonozaki family that made Satoshi disappear. But Mion denied it, while shedding tears. Between her and me, her tears are more convincing than any words. So I'd believe in her. It absolutely wasn't the Sonozaki family that made him disappear. So, do you really think that Satoshi disappeared because of Oishiro's curse? I don't believe in curses, and Mion didn't do it. It wasn't the curse or the Sonozaki family who demoned him away. Don't know. Just know it's not Mion. It's not the Sonozaki family because Mion says so. Stupid, Shion. You going to ignore Satoshi's voice? I know. You don't have to remind me, demon. I can hear his voice. I know he's mumbling with an ambivalent expression like he always used to do, and he knows help won't come. I'll help him no matter what. I'll save him if he's alive. I'll avenge him if he's dead. Mion didn't do it. You just want to take it out on somebody, it doesn't matter who. I'm Shion, not a demon. You're only a part of me. Don't try to take control. Fuck off. Don't ever show up again. The demon faded away. My body went limp and I fell to the floor while holding Mion. Mion, are you alright? I'm alright now, Mion. Why are we two different individuals? Why can't we just be one? Stop it. We've asked ourselves that so many times, but there's no answer. I'm Shion and you're Mion. That's just how it is. I don't care if I'm Mion or Shion. I just want to be one and equal. Nothing we can do. You have the demon on your back. You're destined to become the successor. We can't change that. Want that. I don't need a demon. I don't want it. Not a demon, I'm not. I want to be a human like you. Mion is a demon, and Shion is a human. And though we're twins, there's a difference between us. Possible for humans to live with demons after... Okay. Is it impossible for humans to live with demons after all? It should be possible, because they did it before. That's the legend of Hinamizawa. Humans and demons lived in harmony together, as Oishiro watched over him. Mion, Toshi, Demons. Humans. Oishiro's curse. The series of mysterious deaths. Toshi's disappearance. We fell asleep while holding each other. While holding everything. You have received new tips. Okay, let's read this then. Page 50. I saw Mio Takano a few times after that. At her chore, she was fascinated with the bizarre. At her core. Not chore, core. Can't read. Can't read or speak, apparently. At her core, she was fascinated with the bizarre, and she had an insatiable curiosity that was just as strong. I have to remind myself not to take her story too seriously. Otherwise, I might start believing that Satoshi disappeared because of the curse. Talks about the dark history of Hinamizawa a lot. It's all very interesting. Her theories are based on nothing but conjecture. Some of her intuition covers facts that only members of the Sonozaki family would know. Thinks that Oishiro's curse is the continuation of these ancient rituals. In other words, she believes that the curse is performed by religious fanatics. According to her theory, a religious cult once existed in Hinamizawa. The three families stemmed from it. She believes that they are operating behind the scenes in order to revive the dignity of the Onagafuchi people, which was lost during the Meiji era. Mio's theories are far-reaching. Looking at them on a larger scale, they end up making a lot of sense. They can't offer an explanation for Satoshi's disappearance when using them on a smaller one. Her theories are just too broad. 64. I exchange information with Oishi every now and then. We'd each expect new leads from each other. Neither of us had any luck. I no longer believe the tip that Satoshi might have headed to Tokyo. It was clearly bogus anyway. Though I can't befriend Oishi. Been fair about the deal. He alone has been serious about uncovering any new information. Oishi's sources are quite reliable. Whenever I found some dubious tip, I'd check with him to see if it was valid. My meetings with him have diminished in frequency since he's been assigned to new cases. Eventually, stopped meeting entirely. Oishi stopped investigating. I reached the limits of my sources of information. People now think that Satoshi's disappearance was a supernatural phenomenon called demon in a way. In Hinamizawa, they refer to his disappearance as him having transferred. Nobody will talk about it otherwise. I don't like the way that phrase is used to erase. During the upheaval surrounding Oishiro's curse in 1982, I was pulled this way and that by new leads on Satoshi's disappearance. Every time I found information that looked promising, I kept changing my theories. That also became an incredible burden on me. Wore me down plenty on its own. The fatigue was harsh, but also provided a very kind acceptance. Bit by bit it soothed the anger, sadness, and doubt that wore me down. Never forget Satoshi. Never try to forget him and move on. Constantly repeated those to myself in my head. Repeated them. Keep my memories of Satoshi from fading too, over and over. For the sake of my fond memories of Satoshi, together with my fear, my sadness, I repeated them forever and ever. Tips. Chapter 8. Need to step away for just a few minutes. But I will be back. I will put us on the BRB. So hopefully y'all can have some nice music. I will be back as soon as I can. All right. Okay, I'm back. I had to. Okay. Last night, I guess, like last night, I must have like left on my left shoulder or whatever. Weird. Something. Or well, I just must have held it at a wrong angle. Whatever. And hello, lock and load. Welcome on in. But we kind of sore today, and then like are just like really stiff, and it was just really bugging me or whatever. So I applied some Tiger Balm on it, aka Chinese herbal icy hot. It's starting to. It's loosening up. That's helping. Anywho. Okay, sir. I just need to. It's. I normally use overhead headphones or whatever. But I'm just need to. I should probably do it. Then you get tired of that one, and then you have to switch. Because I just like I know sound quality in general is just like better on you. Which, especially these days, because I was watching like video or whatever, line or whatever, and it was sort of like it's basically on that, no, you're not going deaf. The sound quality, the sound on movies and TV when it finally gets on terms of like the average setup from what most people watch it on or whatever, just sucks. It's all like most stuff is formatted to where it's like it assumes you have a 7, like it was the 7.1 now, I think, or whatever stuff when it comes to home or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff where it's just sort of like, if you have suboptimal, put it lightly, acoustics and setup, you're gonna run into issues on like stuff. Whereas if you're watching like an older program, because those would just normally be like in stereo, standard stereo or whatever, which works fine. Also, the standard speakers that come like with most screens or whatever, if you were watching that, just suck. Like, they're very small and they're normally on the back. It's just like, forget. Honestly, stereo would be hard or whatever. I know, like, Christopher Nolan, for example, is notorious for, like, even a lot of, like, solid theaters have trouble, like, meeting the sound or whatever. He's so particular. This is where I have to, like, have, like, a moment of where, like, it just... Older stuff, obviously, they also, mic tech was... You didn't have, like, these really small, like, mics and stuff like that. So, it meant you have to be more, like, a little clearer, like your elocution and stuff like that. Whereas nowadays, there's actors that just flat out mumble. Like, intense acting or whatever. They have the small thing, so they're like, okay, now I can, like, really get into it. So my character can mumble or whatever. Like, I get the performance realism. I think there's a line that kind of needs... If you have... commitment to realism and, like, stuff like that is praiseworthy, but there's sort of, like, a line. So, you know, a lot of what Daniel Day-Lewis or whatever, I could appreciate that, especially in, like, method acting and stuff like that. Of course, then he does, like, crazy stuff that, like, during the filming of the movie Gangs of New York, which takes place in about 1860. One, he refused to wear clothing that they would not have had at the time. I guess is one thing. It's a bit extreme, but okay. Of course, it was winter, so it's like, but he caught pneumonia, and everyone had to, like, really fight him hard to actually get him, like, to take antibiotics and the needed medicine for that or whatever, because they, of course, didn't have that at... And which, yeah, pneumonia, one of those things where it's like, nowadays, as long as you get medicine, you'd be okay. But before antibiotics, you know, lots of people that freaking died from that. Some people still do. It still happen. Don't get treated quick. Ay vey. We're getting that. Also, of course, the just flatting out mumbling. Like, it kind of... It doesn't matter how good your performance is and how realistic it is if I can't frickin' hear it. It becomes self-defeating. You can speak up a bit, okay? Speak a little bit clearer. To be fair, most actors get about that. Some that... You're not being artistically integral, you're just being obnoxious and hard to appreciate what's going on. I can hold I can suspend my disbelief to allow you to speak clearer. It will not break my immersion. If you're doing everything else right, it will not break my immersion. Okay? Speak up. What were we doing? Oh, yeah. I got it a thing. Higurashi. And Darius yelling, yes, I see you are hungry. I will get. There you go. Continue. This is finished chapter 8, so we're continuing with chapter 9. Yes, AD 1983. The fourth year of the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse, 1 year after Satoshi Haojiao's disappearance. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okonomiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job at my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. I ended up living with my parents after all, so I didn't have to pay for living expenses. It felt great to get to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still used the room Kasai set me up from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents. In fact, I was planning to spend the day there today. Damn, that teacher told my parents that I was skipping classes. My dad got upset, and that was why I didn't want to stay at home. I'd been asking for it, though. My teacher should know that my dad is a Yakuza, that he gets really scary when he's mad. On the whole, my life had been going well so far, except that it was boring. The reason I could enjoy this lifestyle was probably because I had to live in secret before. It's a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Well, that might have been a valuable experience. I think I learned from it. I was going grocery shopping and thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes. Wait, there a 100 yen sale today? Yeah, there is. I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood, spun around with my arms spread out. I felt like I was inside a little whirlwind. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. What the? Park this motorcycle here. Gave the motorcycle a kick with no hesitation. There were 3 motorcycles lined up in a row. They all fell like dominoes. It was beautiful and so much fun. Oh, it was hot. I felt like I'd gone through the exact same experience before. Because you did. While blinking my eyes in an effort to recall when that was, some people grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley. Looked like these punks were the owners of those motorcycles. They started shouting at me. This really was strange. I was having deja vu. Deja vu. Deja vu. There. Sorry. Parker, you bitch. What you think you're doing? Okay, base your head in, bitch. Rah. Gonna pay for what you did. Deja vu. That's right. When I met Satoshi-kun for the first time, he came to save me. I pretended to cry again now. Would he come to save me again? I made a wish. I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. That time, I doubted my ears. Cut it out. You see she's crying? It was a boy about my age. Everyone, look. Keiichi. He finally has his own sprite and is appearing. 5 volumes. Wait. On the 5th volume of this 8-volume series. 5th time around, he finally has it. couldn't quite see his face because of the light illuminating him from behind. Satoshi-kun? Of course, it couldn't be him. Couldn't be. When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized that it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. He looked gracious than Satoshi, so to speak. Satoshi was pristine and untouched. This guy would have scratches all over him. Like that's kind of a burn. What did he do to you? Deserve that. Although they were completely different, I got a similar impression from him. Oh. What the hell? What the fuck are ye? You wanna get hurt or what? I can see something. Son of a bitch. The boy looked a bit taken back. Well, I just thought you might want to let her go because she's crying, so... Huh? Fuck you think you're telling us what to do? Whoa. Hold on. I'm against violence. What's up with this guy? I felt ashamed that I mistook him for Satoshi even for a second. He seemed cool at first, but he wasn't as cool as Satoshi after all. Well, I mean, I'm sorry that your motorcycles were knocked down, but I hope you don't feel too bad about it. How could I make you feel better? Of course, we don't have any money on us, you know? Haha. You got your money then. You got no money. Gotta pay with your body. This chick's got some real nice... Oh. The stripper down, see. That and considering her age,
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC.
Hey, you kidding me? I tightened my grip on the stun gun in my pocket, and I turned it up to maximum intensity. Won't hold a grudge against me if you die, pervs. I love it when just get stripped to dust. What are you trying to get me to read, game? Stripping is better than the actual chest.
How about new?
They indulge with their imaginations, which arouse their spirits. You know, why are you perverts closing in on me? Gross hands are groping the air. Gonna try and violate me? Yeah, stripping's awesome. Stripper. Stripper from the top to the bottom. Chalks off, she'll be as naked as the Bay Jaybird. Hey, are you out of your mind? Hey, wait, are you out of your mind? Don't touch me with those filthy hands. Then a flash of light cut through the air. Is that the boy? Stupid fucks. Blows like thunderbolts knocked the punks down. Well, so he is actually strong after all? What the hell? It is some emotional damage I'm enduring. What the hell? You want some? Huh? You don't have a clue, idiots. Fuck are you on about? There's nothing arousing about stark nakedness. Leave our socks on at least, no matter what. That is the ironclad rule. Listen up, monkeys. What's the difference between Homo sapiens and other animals? That's right, humans wear clothes. Human beings without clothes are just animals. Get aroused only when the girl's completely naked. You are less than human. Okay, you might as well be animals. I'm going to knock some sense into you. Clench those teeth. Woof, gah. Mentioned a porn movie, didn't you? Let's say there's a... It's what I shower up in. According to Keiichi, apparently. Yes, Fox Love, hello. Wait, hold on. Move too fast. Okay, I actually hit a button. Alright. Mentioned a porn movie, didn't you? Let's say there's a cosplay sex video. Definition of cosplay is too broad. The lecture on this subject is as difficult as explaining the spirit of Yamato to Yankees parachuting down from B-29s. So I'll limit the scope to the most popular one. School uniforms. Thank you for the fluid check. Oh my god. What are the three most prominent divisions in large category of school uniforms? Answer me. That's right. Regular uniforms, gym uniforms, and school swimsuits. Both the sailor style and the... Slow down. Both the sailor style and blazer style are included under regular uniform. By the way, gym shorts and bloomers are likewise. And the color difference between white and navy swimsuits is the same. Well, doesn't this sound exciting already? See if each of you has a preference in one of those three divisions. Hey, you tall one, you take the regular one. Fat one, you take the school gym uniform. You short one, you take the school swimsuit. Picture the image in your head within 3 seconds. If you're done, that's not good enough. Do it again. If there's a video of your favorite cosplay, use your imagination. Come on, say yes sir when you got it. Are you really military men? You maggots. Good. You all seem to have an image in your heads now. Let's move on. Imagine that your favorite nickname is stripped entirely naked because of your stupid desire. Now think. Take all their clothes off. That's not cosplay anymore, is it? This sort of video is rampant lately. It's just lamentable. Humans without clothes aren't civilized. They're animals. If only girls fed you, you'd be a pack of dogs. Monkeys or pheasants. Pack your bags and get out. Wait, get back here. So you know a huge amount of Russian kids are going around lately thanks to the end of the Cold War. You know that? Get out of here. I heard this song called Beautiful Russian Schoolgirl. Combination of the Japanese uniform and some Russian things emerging. But I'll never accept that. School uniforms are part of Japanese culture and art. Those stupid barbarians will never understand the Japanese spirit. Are you listening, you pathetic squid? Clench your teeth, I'll train you till you drop. Oh my gosh, game, hold on. You're listening, you pathetic squid, clench your teeth. I'll train you till you drop. I won't let you sleep until you are capable of... At that point, I heard a bustle of people running this way. My Barasan! I gathered some people. I saw several kids running toward us. Seemed like our backup had arrived. Shit, let's get out of here. 3 punks had just been standing there agape. They started running away when they saw that many people. You're awesome, my Barasan. Are those punks transfixed all by yourself? One of them even had a nosebleed. So strong, not by Bara. Okay. Let my brain catch up after having to read that, then just very quickly, and then to process all that. You just like stop some punks with a lecture. I don't know how to feel about that. Should I be impressed or creeped out? I'm not sure. Both? I don't know. Seems my personal aura has grown more powerful. If this keeps up, I'll soon surpass even coaches made in heaven reality marble. Anyway, you alright, Mion? The boy was apparently called Mabara. He turned around to face me. The way he mistook for Mion, the way he mistook me for Mion sounded like Satoshi. But Satoshi isn't a pervert like him. I was anxious to see how you'd fight back, but guess 3 guys were too many, huh? Don't believe it. I was still confused, couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? Mion has friends like him? I was still spacing out in shock, so I forgot to move, till his hand touched my head. Well, you know, I'll forget that I saw you cry, but cheer up, okay? Rub rub. The boy called Mabara stroked my head roughly. It didn't feel good. Hurt, actually. Still, his hand had the same warmth. Later on, Mion told me about him. He was called Keiichi Mabara. Kei-chan for short. He's 1 grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he'd already become an idol in their class. Mion joyously explained all this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him, but Satoshi is way cooler. He wasn't worth stealing from Sis, or was he? My heart throbbed. I was excited. Felt like I'd gotten a new toy. I was curious as to what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. I'd love to tease her about it. Thanks, Kei-chan. Let me buy you a drink. My uncle's restaurant is just nearby, so why don't we go there? Satoshi would refuse out of modesty. Keiichi Maibara said okay within 2 seconds. Well then, couldn't wait to tease the two of them. My boring laugh suddenly became bright again. Whoa. Hey, don't cling to my arm. Oh, don't you like it? Well, I don't hate it, but it's just they're touching me and it's bothering. Keiichi Maibara was fun. Mion thought the same way I did. He would always talk about him. I was happy for her. It made me smile. I guess Kei-chan is really your favorite, huh, sis? The most interesting thing about him. Let's see. Put it plainly, he's just funny. For example, just a couple of days ago in the club, Mion really liked him, but didn't seem to think it was love yet. He's reserved in that area, so that was really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him. My feelings weren't the same as Mion's. Kei-chan was just too childish compared to Satoshi. I wondered how Satoshi was doing. He waiting for things to cool down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved, though. Dopehead was the murderer. There was no reason for him to wait anymore. I shook my head. Shouldn't think about it too much. Wait, I know. The case was confidential, but the arrest of the culprit hadn't been made public. So Satoshi hadn't realized that he could come back. I know he's a little thick-headed. Maybe he'd be waiting for things to calm down until the end of time. But if so, couldn't he give a call to Satoko at least? He should tell her he's living in a faraway place, but that he'd be coming home soon. Stupid Satoko. He'd been living with Rika Furude since Satoshi went away, so nobody would pick up the phone even if it called. Stupid girl. You want your big brother to come home? Really? Why are we blaming? Of course you can't help but blame Satoko for something. Given Satoshi's Kun's personality, he wouldn't remember any phone numbers other than his home number. we wouldn't be able to contact anybody in Hinamizawa. Maybe he's been calling Satoko every night. Keeps ringing, but nobody picks up. Then he'd assume Satoko might be taking a bath or be in the restroom. He'd put on a puzzled smile while mumbling, like always. Imitated his voice without realizing it. After that, What? What's up? Didn't you say something, Shion? I laughed it off and urged Mion to continue. I realized then that her tone had changed. I've been listening to her because I was thinking about Satoshi. Thought she was still happily talking about Kei-chan. But Mion sounded grim now. Faint smile looked pitiful. It was too late to ask what was going on. Instead, I concentrated on her story instead. For all that, who gave everybody a doll as a thank you gift. But except for me. Okay, except for you. Wanted one too, but I couldn't say it in front of everybody. Still can't express your needs, huh? Then, Mion sniffled. I realized that she was on the verge of tears. Cutest doll was in Kei-chan's bag. And you wanted that doll? Didn't matter which one. Though Kei-chan knew only I didn't get one, he didn't give it to me. Didn't give it to me. He said the doll wouldn't fit me and I should have been born as a boy in my next life. That's what he said. That was Keiichi's weak point. Might be fun and popular, but he wasn't mature. Not like Satoshi. I want to start all over. Go back to when I met him and start all over. I want him to treat me like a girl from the beginning. Aw. Or beyond. Want to give her a head pat and say it's okay. Okay. Don't take it too seriously. It'll be okay because it's just you who wants to start over while he didn't even notice anything wrong. It'd be harder if you guys fought over it or something. Can I start over? You didn't cry in front of him, it's not too late. You can cry as much as you want now. You show him a different side of you from tomorrow on, you can still fix it. Okay. Amazed how insensitive he is. But part of that is just the impression you've been giving him so far. If you change your attitude from now on, you can still change his mind. How do I change my attitude? Oh. If I tell you to act cute, you'd start going to school in frilly clothes. So don't think and just be natural. Without overdoing it. Pay attention to how you behave around him. Don't forget to be cautious of Reina. He's a bit ahead of you so far. Kei-chan might prefer Reina at this point. Oh, it's true. Reina's really girly. She's cute and caring. That just means you can't slack off for even a moment, sis, because you've got a rival. Tears can attract men, but they don't anchor them. You should always be smiling, but cry when it really counts. That's how you typically do it. Maybe I should try that on Kei-chan myself. No, don't. He's the boy you like, so I guess it's natural that I like him too. I attract him. Hey sis, why don't we have a competition over him? No. Never. Kick you into orbit if you come near Hinamizawa. I'm happy for you, sis. It's not too late at all. It's important to know the distance between the boy you love and yourself. Shift the way you appeal to him to compensate. Boy I love is missing, you know? I don't even know where he is, or when he's coming back. Compared to that, you're lucky. Mion was saying she'd do her best from tomorrow on with red, tearful eyes, but I sensed a deeply negative feeling emerging inside me. Nobody was blaming Mion for being happy with Keiichi. I wasn't envious. I wasn't jealous. I didn't want her to be blamed the same way I was blamed. Just, there was no space for Satoshi in Mion's mind anymore. Filled as it was with Kei-chan and her other friends now. Didn't matter to her if Satoshi came back or not. It's like how she didn't care if it was sunny or rainy tomorrow. What about me then? I've been thinking about Satoshi all the time for the past year. I wasn't proud of my own answer. Become used to life without Satoshi. His absence didn't hurt me anymore. I was getting used to life with Keiichi Maibara. If I let my guard down, I might just fill up the space I've been saving for Satoshi. If Shion Sonozaki had prayed harder for Satoshi to return, he might have come home already. Did Satoshi go? Last year, right after his disappearance, I'd paid close attention to the information circulating in the Sonozaki family and its underground connections, and I frequently went to the police station to check with Oishi for new information. Even with all that, I couldn't get any new leads on his whereabouts. I eventually became interested in Oyashiro's curse, which surrounded Satoshi's disappearance. I researched the dark history of the village. The more I looked into it, the less likely his survival seemed. Ah, crap, I got the hiccups. Dadgabbit. Yeah, help me, T. Okay. Okay, I think I'm okay. I'm okay to continue. I'd returned Mion's scrapbooks to her. Then I hadn't gone to the library since. Or Mio's scrapbooks back. I started a new life in the new school. I'd made new friends. In the same way, as fallen leaves cover the ground, I felt like I was losing sight of what was really important to me. It was already almost the end of spring. They said that summer was coming early. It'd be very hot this year. Normally it'd be the rainy season now. We'd had no rain at all. Watanagashi Festival was right around the corner. It'd been almost a year since Satoshi went missing. Inumizawa, they don't allow you to talk openly about Oyashiro's curse, or the series of mysterious deaths, so everybody acts like the murder of Satoshi's aunt never happened. That's because Satoshi Haojo was a member of the family of traitors. He fell victim to Oyashiro's curse in the 4th year running. He was demoned away. Everybody was trying to forget about his existence and erase their memories of him. Don't make him disappear because of the curse. Don't erase his existence. Satoshi was living in Hinamizawa over just a year ago. Went to school. He was an A student. He was a member of the Hinamizawa Fighters. He could never hit the ball when it really mattered. He was unreliable but pure. Was warm. Because of the curse, people made him disappear. He stopped mentioning his name and acted like he never existed. A new resident like Keiichi Maibara wouldn't even know him. He seriously believed that Satoshi had transferred out. Miss you, Satoshi. Want to go shopping with you again. Want to be in a baseball game with you again and get a cold drink afterwards. Want to tease you and I want you to stroke my head again. Hand was so warm. I felt as if my whole body was being caressed. Satoshi. I haven't opened this notebook in a while. My feelings have been written down for over 150 pages. This notebook is the key to my heart. The other me who's been sleeping since last year is slowly waking up. I'm quite amazed by your dirty deeds, Keiichi-san. Your dirty deeds that are done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. ACDC. Continuing. He is a boy after all. Mie-chan, Chi-chan, Keiichi-kun looks confused. How? Did you hear that, sis? We're not playing tug of war here. Are you trying to tear Kei-chan apart? I'm not playing tug of war. You're the one who's stretching him. Go back to Okonomiya, Shion. Okay, I will. Oops. I let go of Keiichi suddenly, though he and Sis flew off like a rubber band. Keiichi rolled on the ground while Sis was stuck in a bush head first. Help step Keiichi. John, I'm stuck. What Lavla people. See ya, Kei-chan. This might assault me if I stick around any longer. So I'll get going. Oh, Shion. Thanks for today. I forget it. I didn't do much. See ya, Shion. His hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly. The warmth reminded me. Excuse me, I'm going. See ya, sis. Don't ever come here again. Reina, keep your eyes on her. Togo, set traps. Rika-chan, purify this area with salt. Warmth remained on the top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I had to stop, got off my moped and pushed that aching spot against the telephone pole. Sorry, Satoshi, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I never forgot about you. I still remember you. Worthless without you. I can't stand life without you because it's gray and cold and boring. It's true. I never smile because you aren't here. I can't. See you, Shion. Keiichi's face appeared in my mind. I recalled the touch of his hand stroking my head. Wasn't warm. Wasn't happy. It's rough and painful. Hate that insensitive guy. He's too rude and cold. It's like a stray dog. Wasn't happy. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy or overjoyed at all. Oh, Toshi-kun. Satoshi mumbled. Didn't know what to say in a situation like this, but he knew that he had better say something. He wanted to say something. Didn't know what to say. So we just mumbled. Sorry, Shion. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi? I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I said I'd wait for you. Even though I believed my heart wouldn't change. My heart is full of holes. You're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart, little by little. You're leaking out from me. Are you suffering because I'm here? Why? So precious to me. Don't say that. I've been here with you all this time. But I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. Don't want that. Not true. No. Where have you been, Satoshi? You weren't with me. Tell me where you are. What's the address? What's the postal code? What's the name of the city? What's the street number? Tell me. There isn't an address. I knew it. Telling me you've always been with me. Always by my side. Such a cliche. Which do you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'll stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, disappear right away. Say that. I want to be with you always. I want to be with you forever. Okay. Stay with you then. car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. I should go home to Okinomiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi? I walked back to my moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike. Then I heard an extra footstep. I gasped. Feel somebody else's presence. Stupid. Nobody else was around here. Nobody had suddenly appeared before. What? Oh no. Those that are cursed get the extra footstep. Or at least wait. We know so Satoshi mentioned he felt the, the the year before, 82, mentioned that he heard the footstep. And we know that in the timeline, I guess, whatever or version of the current time period, 83 or whatever, that after Keiichi was like doing the murder of the uncle, he started to hear that extra footstep. And Reina had mentioned Shion that when she was like cursed or whatever, that you would hear the extra footstep. Okay. The feeling of that and the other person's presence in that. And was it kind of in the first year too? Or in the first chapter, volume, whatever? That same thing. Not quite the same. We know in the other times, the, the extra footstep, the presence behind you, apparently is the common thing or whatever of those that are by Oishiro. Oh yeah, this means something's bad about to happen. Perhaps about to go down. That's what that means. Nobody else suddenly appeared behind me. So I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But definitely still there. Toshi. Couldn't see him, but he was there. He was there for me. Satoshi never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. Been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. Toshi. A breeze tickled my hair. It felt cold, but to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took me a while to notice that my cheeks were wet with tears. I don't like that music. It's giving me Halloween vibes. Like the movie. Like the thing. Little. You know what I'm talking, right? Where it's like the I can't remember the exact thing. Like that. I was too scared to sleep. If I went to sleep, I might not find Satoshi there in the morning. So I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looked into various different things. I'd gathered underground information through Kasai and bargained for police information with the Oishi. Couldn't find any leads. Long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Etc., etc. I told him all the small details from my daily life. Places I wanted to go with him. The things I wanted to do with him. But she has gone completely crazy now. The food I wanted to share with him. And I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first. I got tired, so I lay down. Got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. The happiest night I'd ever had. By something I see on your screen that I'm number 3. Yes, that is the current leader in terms of channel point. For some reason, it put me on the list. I guess because I have unlimited. That.
Oh my god!
Now I'm scared to ask how many you have. Wait. Hold on. Is it? So is it 11 3.5? Okay. Maybe it's by number of... Okay, I'm thinking it's my number of redeems when I think about it. I need to look up. I forgot. I just said this yesterday is the sad part. And I can't remember. Wait, what does this do? When I woke up, I reached for my smiling face
He's
cup.
nuts.
It's
Ha! Got him.
and now you're gonna go through all the different things now, aren't you? It's fine. When I woke up, I didn't find Satoshi-kun by my side. Knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That was why I didn't want to go to sleep.
It's a trap.
Everything this chick does is a trap. It feels like. But at least I gotta see him for one night.
No, 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 no!
Just when I'd resigned myself to that, I felt Satoshi's presence again. It's in a dream after all, I thank God. The time. So I began my strange life with Satoshi. As promised, Satoshi was always by my side. Crazy. Crazy for being so lonely. He couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head.
Yeah, this thing's a piece of shit. Let's go do something else.
Yeah, come on, Hobag, give me chicken pot pie.
Hey, you squeezy little mouse, go get it your sorry
Don't you
ass
talk
self.
back to me like that, bitch.
Get out of my way, you piece of shit.
The timing on that was good. I don't feel like I know how exactly it fit, but I feel like it fit. But he was always with me, always right by my side. He disappeared sometimes, but he'd come back when I looked for him.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the fuck are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
Thank you, Filthy Frank. Good. Seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. That's just the way it was. A bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint. It was hard to sense him in a crowd. They never left me. The cheerful music is making this is a good fit, because it makes this that much unnerving. If he were tangible, I'd be taking his hand all the time, but we wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. No, you can't. Do not want.
Behold, the ultimate pug!
Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were, because he was just a presence. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. First, I could only tell if he was laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I didn't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi got upset about that. He mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. Yeah, she's had a complete, like, I guess, psychotic break at this point. Like... I was sticking to my time alone with them, however, because I was scared that they might suddenly disappear again, and I wanted to make the most of the time I was sharing with them right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi will always be by my side. Yeah, that was his promise. He never breaks his promises. I was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. I could try to explain it, but they'd never understand. I was certain that he was with me. So I'd be alright. I never get fed up with Latham. Really cute, you know? We always walk together. When I stop, he always walks one extra step. So adorable, I love it. Notebook page 159. Okay, although this begs the question. Because we've had other incidents where others, like, that seem to be, like, that seem to undergo the, quote, curse. That for right now. That they seem to exhibit things that would be categorized as some sort of, I guess the term would be psychosis? Or have, like, certain things happen. The experience of reality is not, how they're perceiving things is different. But everyone else. So somehow I'm guessing the curse seems to factor into that. The nature of it. Well, curse and quotation marks and air quotes. If it's an actual supernatural curse or not is another question. These cursed individuals have to do that. And have some sort of, like, something close to, like, a mental illness, like, symptoms seem to show up. whether that's so there's some whether those like events are actually happening to them at that point, and I think it's been mentioned briefly or whatever, but like a different in a Hinamizawa or whatever, that area where like there's, I don't know, some, it was suggested by someone in chat or whatever, it's been mentioned that like some sort of like an interdimensional or others like realities kind of like get close to each other in, or whatever, like parallel worlds, realities, whatever, seem to get jumbled in Mizawa sometimes. So maybe might be some merit to that, as opposed to just being an illusion of mind or other thing. So that means we'll have to figure out the common thread that seems to, for that though, the question though. Jian-san, what are you going to do? I'm watching Nagashi this year. Guess I'll have some fun at the festival. Maybe I'll tease Sis and her friends. I wanted to go to the festival with Satoshi. I know he liked to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan. But Satoshi isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi loved to see me and my friends have fun. I should have a lot of fun for his sake. I'd talk about the day with him later. How are you going to Hinamizawa? I can give you a ride if you want. I'm taking my moped, so you don't have to. That won't do. You going to the family party afterwards? I can't let you drive under the influence. He won't let me drive. He's kind enough to let me drink. Alright, take me then. Good. Let's leave before nightfall. I'll come pick you up around that time. After Kasai left, I sensed that Satoshi was excited about going to the festival. That's Nagashi, huh? It's been almost a year since you went away. Satoshi seemed confused. I bet you're going all right now, aren't you? Laugh together. Welcome. Here's your net in a bowl. Great. Wow, these fish are so active. Look delicious. I'd eat this little one raw right here. Huh? What are you saying, Neon-san? Mi-chan, eat goldfish? Did you eat the one I gave you last year too? No, I didn't say that. This shook her head hard. He turned all red. But you just said it. You said they look delicious. I heard it too. Sis eats everything as long as it fits inside her mouth. Everything. I'm sorry. I'll just, I'll see myself out. Hey, it's really good. I'll try it once. No, you can't, Rika-chan. I'm going to get sick. Wait a minute. Hey, you. How long have you been here, Shion? Hi, Kei-chan, Sis, and everyone else. Good evening. Ah, When did you get here, Shion? I've been here since you were at the chow mein booth. I found you guys quickly since you were making so much noise. Hey, you're not in our club. Get lost. Don't be mean, sis. Rat. Kei-chan, you're fine if I come with you guys, right? I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. Puff, puff. We were going to have a ball. All I can say is,
なんでもないのですよ。ニパーニパーニパーニパーニパーいいかスパイと大なのですニパーだあと
I went around the booth with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I teased Kei-chan and Sis too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. Looked like Satoshi was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. When I glanced at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me to have fun without worrying about him. If he were tangible, I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. I bumped into somebody's shoulder. It was obviously my fault, so I apologized right away. It turned out it was somebody I knew. Yay, more danger. Oh, looks like you're having fun. Good evening, Shion-chan. The moon looks beautiful tonight, doesn't it? Oh, it's been forever, Takano-san. And you were... Nice to meet you. I'm Tomitake. I'm the guy who always dies. I'm sorry. I heard you were Mion-chan's twin sister. Nice to meet you too, Tomitake-san. I heard you were a great cameraman. Please take a picture of me someday. I'm just an amateur dreaming of going professional. No, you're actually great, Hiro-san. You're good at many things. The kind of things. Great. Ahem. Need to get bonked. Someone bonked me with the bat. No, I need to study more. I have no talent, so I have to put out a lot of effort to compensate. I must have been in a relationship. You two look happy. You two look so happy together. Am I interrupting you? Oh no. I appreciate your consideration. You're not interrupting us at all. And you can call me Mio like before. Not Takano-san. It's a bit hard for me to call someone older than me by our first name. Well, never mind. I smiled bashfully and Takano smiled back elegantly. I haven't seen you in the library since then. I wanted to talk to you more as a fellow researcher. Oh, when I feel like it. A fellow researcher, are you interested in it too, Shion-chan? I mean, in the legend of this village. Tomitake raised his eyebrows. As far as I knew, Takano's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hikimizawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival from ancient times, a cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that, and other legends of cruelty. It was nothing if not gory. That was where her main interest lay. So I didn't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms. The taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi Festival, the dedication dance, was about to start. According to Takano's hypothesis, the part of the dance where the shrine maiden tears open a futon mat represents gutting a live victim. It's starting. I should head over. You guys coming to see Rika-chama's performance? Huh? Tomitake-san looked bewildered. That mean he wasn't coming? Takano giggled and whispered in my ear. Tell you the truth. We're thinking of sneaking into the ritual storehouse. Eh? She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but it wouldn't be amusing to anyone who knew what the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is sort of a treasure house belonging to the Furude Shrine. I heard that Oishiro's sacred treasures were stored in there. Only people from the Furude family and selected members of the other 2-3 families are allowed to enter. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be desecrated. Everybody in Inuizawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids. But the storehouse was always tightly locked. Couldn't just peek into it either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they'd learn to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. Nothing good can come from breaking the rules. Are they still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that? Pretty sure it's tightly locked. It was until last year. John had the heavy bolt chained to a cheap padlock, because the bolt was too heavy for her to lift. You know that? No. But even if it's cheap, it's still locked, isn't it? Hiro-san is very skilled. Are you good at lockpicking? Once the Wachinagashi festival starts, everybody will gather around the stage, right? And the area around the storehouse will be completely devoid of people. Tonight, this place will be a blind spot. Can't see the forest for the trees, I suppose. According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in the ritual storehouse. Why don't you join us in a bit? It's now or never. Hehehe. Well, maybe I'll see you then. Kano-san, what are you telling her? Just girl talk. Go to someplace dark for a quick date. Hehehe. Huh? Kano-san walked against the flow of the crowd alongside Tomitake. The ritual storehouse, huh? Supposedly filled with torture tools, considering what they had in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki house. That's quite possible. Satoshi fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. Thence death was the sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi was the sacrifice to pacify Oyashiro's anger. That was what Takano said last year. It was just her hypothesis. At present, I want to deny her hypothesis because I want to believe that Satoshi was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the 3 families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onikafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi. So what if? What if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements? Maybe it was filled with broken palanquins or freshly painted signboards for the festival. What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi was sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there didn't mean that Satoshi would come back. What should I do, Satoshi? Since most people went to see Rika-chama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi. Did he go somewhere? They're not paying enough attention. Maybe he wasn't feeling any emotions in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with them. It had been almost a year since Satoshi's disappearance. I've been avoiding the truth because I was afraid he might be dead. But now I had a chance. had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. On the way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down trying to see Rikachama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him long enough, we could split the guilt. Michiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. Wanted a partner in crime. The boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse. Maybe Mion's love should disappear this year. Damn. Oh, what am I thinking? That must have been the demon inside of me. I shook the thought out of my head. What's going on, Shion? Where's the best place to see Rika-chan's dance from? Is it far? Huh? Never said I was going to show you that. We made it to the ritual storehouse. Ichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomitake picking the lock. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. There we go. It was capturing my cursor and I don't. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomitake joined in. It was completely dark inside, so Takano lit a battery-powered lantern. Small entrance space appeared before us. It's so dark in here. Take care not to trip over anything. I appreciate the concern. Hey, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano closed the door with a smile as if leaving Tomitake out on purpose. Man, alright everyone, have fun. Soon as the heavy door was closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano's lantern. We'll be fine. An outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. Don't go out or anything. Takano-san teased Keiichi a little. Keiichi in turn looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building, even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa. Let's go in. We go. There. Where Takano opened the heavy inner door, a dusty, foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years and the smell of a fish market mixed together. I didn't know exactly how to describe it. It was a bad smell. It was the smelly, smelly smell. Smells. Smelly. From listening to the echo of our footsteps, I could tell that this room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano raised her lantern, I could clearly see just how big it was. What? Far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance. It scared me. That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, Oyashiro-sama. I looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. Satoshi's disappearance really was a curse. I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down at me. Damn you, Shiro. You really made Satoshi disappear. Never forgive you. Never. Ichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Kano noticed that and took out her scrapbook to show him the brutal history of ancient Hinamizawa. I'd heard that story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out to me, I still found them intimidating. They looked as if they were craving for fresh blood after not having been used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. If those tools were the progenies of torture implements, these would be their ancestors. All the implements here looked old. I doubted they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones at the Sonozaki house. So did that mean they shouldn't scare me? No. On the contrary. They told me that cruel rituals were indeed performed in this village at one point. Now that I found scary. Takano told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi also stopped behind me one step later. Felt no emotional change in Satoshi. Couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but I had no idea how he was feeling. Felt scared of him for the first time. He could answer me. Want to ask him. Demoned you away. Listening, Toshi? Couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left. If he didn't hear anything. I could tell that he'd been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. I realized then that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. It was a clean altar, an altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, flowers in the vase weren't wilted. Saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. Looked out of place amongst everything else. Fairly certain it was Rika Furude's handkerchief. Would mean this storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't a forgotten ruin buried in dust. The brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse, still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oishiro's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. It accused Oishiro of demon away Satoshi. But Oishiro was just a statue made of bronze or wood. It's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. A series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is the result of human action. Couldn't be called Oishiro's curse. Satoshi was the fourth year's victim, and he was victimized by a human being who just was acting the part of a. The person who demoned away Satoshi must not be very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. Thump. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like somebody had dropped something. Looked over at Takano and Keiichi. Takano was still lecturing him. Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump, thump, thump. Sound came from right behind me, not from them. I never heard Satoshi do that. Sounded like somebody was stomping on the floor in frustration. Sit. Thump, thump, thump. Sound continued, ignoring my question. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor somewhere distant. Wrong, Satoshi? Angry about something? I couldn't read his expressions. I thought he was mad, but I didn't sense any emotions from it at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? You weren't supposed to do that. Thump, thump, thump. Not that I'd been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. Just talked to him. Never expecting him to react like that. And it sensed a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. Then a chill ran up my spine. Felt as if all my pores were opening. I'd been thinking that it was Satoshi stomping on the floor. Hey, you. You're Satoshi. Aren't you? Sound stopped. When I asked that, it wasn't a yes or a no. Silence. Satoshi wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi. A cold shiver shot through my feet, and I sprung a step back. The sound had come from right there. Even though I jumped back, it was still just a few meters away. Satoshi would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. That wasn't Satoshi then. There was no guarantee I'd hear its footsteps. That invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes. I just wouldn't see it. I forgot everything and ran, turning my ears as much as possible for any sound. Listening for any footsteps pursuing me, I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning back to look. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. Seeing that chilling dark stillness, realized I was just in that space made me even more frightened now. What's up, Shion? Did you get scared? Keiichi made fun of me. Though he'd looked horrified just a little while ago, he now looked satisfied to see me scared too. I know girls tend to get freaked out by haunted houses. I don't mind it. Anyway, let's go. Or Takano leaves us behind. Pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure I was able to hide my fear entirely. Footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern as if they couldn't go into the light. Presence never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound if wanted some recognition, but neither Takano nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. He could hear it. He would have said something. Just like with Satoshi, only I could hear it. This thing that was making me so scared. Is Satoshi in a bad mood? Is it possible that the presence I believed is Satoshi might not have been him at all? Thump, 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 thump. Are you upset about Satoshi? Tell me if I did something wrong, I'll apologize. Thump, thump, thump. You aren't Satoshi. Where did he go? When did you take his place? Thump, thump, thump. Leon, are you alright? I'm fine. You look pale, though. Then I'd appreciate if you didn't stretch my clothes too much. Sorry. Oh, am I interrupting you two? Hee. Sad to engage in the conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. Didn't hear the sound as much. It became a bit more distant. Should have paid attention to it. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. Should just ignore the noise. Kano, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right? Thump thump. What I'm about to tell you is a secret, all right? I told you, Shion. Because you're an understanding person, the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. She smiled at me like a witch. Thump thump. My Barakun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Oishiro-sama's curse, or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year. If it's the sacrifice, will I be thrown into the Onagafuchi swamp while still alive? It is tonight, you know. Night of Oishiro's curse. Certainly is. Curse strikes for a 5th time. It'll happen tonight. Thump, thump, thump. Kano pulled out an old scrapbook from her paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. The article about the brutal murder of a Watanagashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era. This is a story that actually happened. It was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, victim of a murder in Onagafuchi village. Thump, 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 thump. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Thump, thump, thump. Thank you for the fluid check. Fell asleep. No worries. Did the thump, thump, thump. Wake you up. Thump, 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 thump. Hey, I seriously don't hear that. Freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Okay, that's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. The next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. We turned around in surprise. It was just Tomatake opening the door. Did I startle you? Oh, Jiro-san, do not resist seeing inside. This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature. Kano-san laughed as if making fun of Tomitake for being such a scaredy cat. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over. Everyone's going down to the river. The festival as a whole will be over within minutes. Time was up. Never expected that Tomitake would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic. Oh, Eiichi, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I went into the entry room and turned around. Kano was taking photos in a mad rush, though. Time was up. I didn't hear that sound anymore. Didn't feel that presence. Didn't feel Satoshi either. Somehow I wasn't too sad about that. And if he followed me out here, wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. You have received new tips. Notebook page 172, 173, 179. Let us read these tips. The underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. Do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? According to Kano's theory, bloody rituals, including Watanagashi, have been passed down among 3 families even after the Meiji era. The rituals are always ready to be performed. Their form of worship always revolved around torture. So Hinamizawa's history involved a great deal of human slaughter. Kano's theory is correct. The underground storehouse of the Sonosaki house looked well maintained. Kano was right about that too. The Sonosaki family and the Furude family both have ritual storehouses. Kimiyoshi family must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with the knowledge that occult events are still being performed in this cursed village. Wait. Kimiyoshi's might have one. I feel like that might be a clue. Write that down. Write that down. The sanctity of ritual storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of Oeshiro. Of course, I knew that since I'm originally from Hinamizawa. Violating that sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Kano's research shows that the history of ritual storehouse goes way back. Ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it was strictly forbidden to enter. Kano's theory says that Watanagashi was once a public execution performed to stabilize the reign of the 3 families, rather than a purely religious ritual. If so, ritual storehouse should hardly be called sacred. So the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implement should have been despised as symbols of hatred and fear. When instruments of fear are too visible, it only creates a reign of terror. By keeping them as hidden as possible, and they gain divinity. And he said they would become tainted if the laymen touched them. The reason for that was to preserve their false prestige through secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if revealed before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse sacredness was fear. That was the true emotion ruling over this village. The reason why Takano and Tomitake were cursed is because they broke into the ritual storehouse. I don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there was an anti-theft alarm. The way our intrusions must have been reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because Considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano's body was found. He must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. Possible that a special assassination team exists for this purpose, and that the plan had been set up a long time ago. It might have been secret agents of the Sonozaki family, but the latter sounds more valid. But if so, would have been the victim if nobody broke into the ritual storehouse. This is true. Wait. What if Tomitake and Takano actually are not actually victims of the curse? Because normally someone else has been murdered and then... Though it always happens at the night. There's this disappearance. Interesting. Right, that is the chapter 9. 3 hours now, I think. Stopping. But yay, we finally picked up back up with VN Higurashi. And it was successful. Something didn't pop up or whatever. Alright. So we will be picking back up that on Sunday, which... I'm starting to think we might be getting close to where the it's gonna get rough. I've already decided that there's one scene in particular coming that I know was gonna be coming up that when it comes up on stream, I will read it silently and then just give y'all give the general, here is what happened. Now you understand why I did not want to, and now you know why I did not want to read that. Because I realized this after I started, it's after like 5 minutes in, I actually starting to read, I forgot to do the start recording. It'll take me a while to get this spot on YouTube. I have to put from that stuff. Slightly uploaded. Anyway, but we will raid. I hope y'all enjoy. And yes, after we do this, which I want to say there's probably like 2 sessions worth of there's probably about 2 sessions left to finish this up. I'm thinking. Well, wait, we just finished chapter 9. How many chapters in... Wait. Oh, yes. 5. tell me. Wait. Now maybe it did take. Wait. Why is it taking me? I was looking it up, and it popped up on like. It took me. I saw like a thing someone asking on Reddit, but when it took me to It took me to Xenoblade. Like this is what. I've been told you have Borderlands, and if you want an extra player, let me know. Okay, cool. Yeah, because it was like so cheap or whatever, I decided I would pick up Borderlands for like a period because it was there's like the sale on it or whatever. Like even like the deluxe edition that apparently has like the from what I was looking at reviews like the good season pass was just like 11 like $12. So I was like, okay. Like what 80 or $90 of content normal if I had bought it at the full sale price. So listen, I generally try to live by the rule of thumb of do not pay over $20 for a game. When I do, I need to have good reason to, especially full price or something like that. So, you know, like I made like a Dragon Ishin a exception to that rule. But uh okay, there's finally I read it. Okay. There's 13. We just finished 9, so yeah. About 2 streams probably. Anywho, let's see. Who we gonna rate? Nice, good. I'm gonna. Uh oh, let's rate NST. Currently streaming Destiny Spartan feed. Spartan like from Halo, not Greek Spartan. They are very good VTubers. They are a good streamer. So yes, those the stuff I will be uploading as soon as I can to this on YouTube. As usual. Guys. So our raid message is tea time version sub out for folks. Anyway, thank you all so much, and y'all have a great night or day, whatever your time zone may happen to be. I appreciate all of you, dark or whatever. Thank you. Now have some good outro music. Yeah, you'll have a great one. Bye.